Ready to go? Yeah. Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
What's going on, Scott?
That's good.
All right. Let's go, guys.
Talk a little bit about.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Look, thanks guys, first of all, for being here with us in New York this afternoon. I think from a DAZN perspective, it goes without saying that Saturday's main event has been highly anticipated for some time. And for years, and especially since we announced the Grand Prix participants last July, MMA fans have been asking the same question many times over, and that is, when can we see MVP fight Paul Daley? And when Scott Coker knows there is a fight that MMA fans want to see, he makes it. And that's one of the many reasons why we're so proud to call Bellator a partner of ours here in the US. They always keep their eye on what's appealing for fight fans, and they deliver on that. We at DAZN very much share that mission goal. Whether it's Masasi McDonald, Canelo Jacobs or MVP Daley, DAZN is now consistently delivering pay-per-view level fight nights without the pay-per-view prices. And in simple terms, we are doing what we said we would do. Saturday night Mohegan Sun truly has everything you'd want from a main event. There are big names, there's explosive styles, and I think it's fair to say building tension between the headliners. So to both fighters, my fellow Englishmen, welcome to America. Thank you both and good luck. And to everyone else, I'm very much looking forward to you seeing on Saturday night at Mohegan Sun. So happy alongside Scott to take any of your questions. Thank you.
That's Joe Markowski, VP of DAZN North America.
Put kind of a number on where this has been trending for you guys in terms of the fights you have had so far?
Number in terms of sales?
Well, not necessarily sales, but like, is this the top thing you've done? Is it in the top 5? Is it in the top 10?
I think it's fair to say it's right up there with the top MMA events we've done as an organisation. I think what I'm increasingly comfortable with is our ability to market fight sports. We started 3 years ago in other DAZN markets with McGregor, Mayweather, and that sort of whet our appetite for fight sports. Obviously piled in with a significant fight sports strategy in the US, and we're building our marketing capacity around it. So I'm excited by that, and I think this is right up there with the biggest events we've put on the platform so far.
How crucial is this fight in terms of your guys' future potential for pushing the product on new fans that aren't there yet?
It's huge. As I said, alongside a growing marketing machine, we need great content. This is a fantastic fight that fight fans have been calling for a long time, and we're very excited to be hosting that content exclusively. So I think it's part of a wider momentum that we are growing. The summer schedule sort of starting, or sort of spring to summer schedule starting this weekend is really, really strong. And month on month, fight fans are getting tremendous value for money with DAZN because we're delivering pay-per-view level fights at a really affordable, flexible monthly price point.
Anything else, guys?
Scott, earlier this week, the Michael Page Paul Daley fight was called the biggest fight in Bellator history. Some said it's the biggest rivalry in Bellator history. Do you believe it's the biggest rivalry in Bellator history?
You know, that's something that I think we can answer on Saturday night. But when you talk about the matchup, I mean, this is a fight that I've been looking forward to see myself for the last 2 years, honestly. And we've been trying to put this fight together. It was not easy to put this fight together, believe me. But we finally made it happen. It's going to happen this Saturday. And you know what? We get to sit down, watch the fight, see how it goes, and you know, it could be. I think it's gonna be one of those epic battles that we all love to see. But you know, I'll reserve that till Saturday night.
Because it wasn't easy to put together, does that make it all the more satisfying that it's finally here? And once it's over, and you're going to look back and say, "Thank God we got this done, and we were able to pull this fight off."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, these fights are not easy to put together, and they don't happen all the time. You know, we try our best, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. I would say we're probably at a 95% hit rate that we can make the big fights happen. You know, when you talk about this matchup, to me, this is like you said, this is the biggest matchup in the history of the UK. You know, this fight could have easily happened in the UK if it wasn't for the venue situation. But you know, we're here. We're happy that it's here in the New York area, and I think that it's going to be exciting. Obviously,
has added importance being in the tournament. MVP said he basically demanded that he have this matchup in the tournament if they both were in the field. Is that sort of how it played out, and how crucial was it for you guys to have this be a first-round fight and not something that had the potential to happen in a final, for example?
You know, I know they both wanted to be in the tournament, and you know, it's something that you know, why not go fight for the $1 million prize money on top of all the money they're going to make throughout the year? And we wanted it to be in the first round, as well as both of them, because if not, they might not have met up, because people say, why don't you put them on different sides of the bracket? Well, you know what? Then they might not have got there because somebody else might have won, or somebody gets hurt, or, you know, so when big fights are available, one thing I've learned in this business, you make them happen, and it's going to happen on DAZN this Saturday.
Can you expand on why this fight didn't happen last weekend in the UK?
Yeah, really, it was a venue issue. We were looking in London for a venue, and just to backtrack, everybody knows this fight is a DAZN tournament fight, which primarily happens in the U.S. But when I was in London, I talked to James Rushton and said, you know, would you mind if we scouted a place in London to do it? And he said, okay, go ahead and look. So we looked in London. The SSC Wembley Arena was booked. O2 was booked. And then that's pretty much it. You're out of options at that point. We couldn't make the fight happen when we wanted to in February in the UK. And when I say UK, I mean specifically London. Because if it was going to be in Birmingham or Newcastle, or, you know, then we should just do it here in the New York area. And so when we couldn't get the two venues, we brought it here, and here we go.
In 2019, you could put this fight on the moon, and 99.9% of people are going to watch it on a platform.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the beauty of DAZN. Is like, you know, I know when, like my son, right? He watches everything on his phone. He doesn't really rarely watches TV unless it's a, you know, a Super Bowl or, you know, some. But this is an event that he would love to watch on his phone, and his friends too. So that's the beauty of DAZN. And when you complement that with the Paramount linear TV broadcast, it's a great partnership, and it's a great supplement to what we're doing and how we're building Bellator.
You guys found that you've had to do a balancing act in the early going between, you know, this show's going to be on DAZN only, and this one's going to be on Paramount and DAZN, and how's the balancing act going, and are you still getting used to it then? I
mean, here's what it comes down to. It comes down to you know, we agreed that the tournament will be on DAZN. So the tournament was on DAZN. We supplemented with big fights like the September fight with, you know, with Rory and Gegard, and the launch of the tournament. And Hawaii was, come on, we put the Lima Machino, we put the Lima McFarland. I mean, just great big fights on DAZN. And this is the next chapter, the next continuation. And so, you know, that's how we broke it apart. Was the tournament series will live on DAZN, the welterweight tournament, and you know, the super fights and other fights will put on Paramount. And finishing the tournament, the Fedor fight, we finished the tournament with the heavyweight division on the Paramount Network in January.
Is there not an argument as well that, you know, over the years, Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis, Nazim Hamed, Michael Bisping, Conor McGregor have all had their big fights in America, and asking Michael and Paul, in a way, having their press conference in New York, in a sense, and going to the Mohegan Sun is actually more glamorous and fits in with many of the big fights that we've seen in the UK over the last 20-25 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're asking if big fights happen in America that are UK-centric, yes, of course, we've seen them all here. You know, starting with Lennox Lewis and the whole group, you know, the big boxing boom, and now you have Anthony Joshua, who's going to be coming over here. So yes, listen, America loves fight sports, right? America loves combat. America loves watching MMA. They love boxing. They love it all. So to me, to have this fight here, it's actually something that's like when I was over there doing the announcement for the broadcast that we had last week, and those two gentlemen in the room, there's a certain, like, I didn't face them off because I said, you know what, if I face them off, there could be a fight right here. Somebody could get hurt. Then the fight's off. So that's why we didn't do it. But I'm glad it's here. We can control it more, and you know, the fight will happen.
And also, how does it feel to have that deal finally on, you know, Sky Sports in the UK as well? I know DAZN is showing here, but in Sky Sports in the UK, you know, it's the equivalent. They've got 10 channels. It's the equivalent of Fox rolled into ESPN. What does it mean to finally have that, so that you can put on the biggest fights for UK and European audiences?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it feels great because, you know, for 2 years we've been getting hammered about there's no way to watch this product live in the UK. And so we were trying to, you know, work it out and figure out, and the app this, and you know, like they're trying to geo-block this. But at the end of the day, it worked out great. So now we'll be live on Sky Sports, and we have the Channel 5 deal that'll air our European series live there on prime time. We started last week in Newcastle, and then it'll go into May in Birmingham, and then we'll be in London on June 22nd.
So you've got DAZN, Paramount, Sky, Channel 5. You're nearly there, yeah.
And you know what? Think about this. This is a company that has broadcast deals all over the world in 160 countries. And but we're very proud, to have DAZN as a partner here in the U.S. This is a fight that's perfect because this is a fight that everybody wants to see. There's nobody that I've talked to that said, I don't want to see that fight. They all are looking forward to see this fight, and they're going to watch it on DAZN here in North America and in Japan and in Germany and Switzerland live, I believe, right? So they'll be able to see it live.
Scott, during the heavyweight tournament, you announced that you were going to have a welterweight tournament. Any chance during this welterweight tournament you'll announce another Grand Prix?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I won't tell you what weight, but you guys
come
should
on,
figure it out. Think smaller. That's all.
Bantamweight.
But yeah, listen, tournaments work, right? The heavyweight tournament proved that the single elimination, tournament. That's really kind of what martial arts was based off of, right? Was having when I grew up doing martial arts, you went to a karate tournament and then you would just fight all day until there was nobody left, right? And so wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, it's Olympics. It's the same thing. It's a single elimination, sudden death type of event. And so it really works. It's a great piece of business for Paramount for the heavyweight tournament. And the welterweight is doing extremely well. And we're going to continue at least once a year doing one weight class.
Ryan Bader is the heavyweight champion. Vitaly Minakov, is the former champion, never lost a belt. He's facing Chet Congo. Is that a title elimination fight?
That is a title elimination fight. So the winner will get a shot at Bader.
This is another back-to-back fight weekend. Have you seen any drawbacks? Have you seen complaints from it? Plans doing more in the future?
Well, I think we've only done it once in Hawaii, right? And Hawaii, the Friday fight was for the troops, and the Saturday fight was a DAZN fight with Loretta and Lima.
We did it 2 Paramount fights.
Sorry, Friday was
in October.
Okay, that's right. So we've done it 2 or 3 times, but it's on a case-by-case basis. I think when we go back to Hawaii, we'll do the same thing again. We'll do it on a Friday and Saturday night. This worked out because we'll have one event to promote the other event. So on Paramount, we're going to try the DAZN show on the following night, and then I think it works out. So everybody come up to the Morning Sun and check it out. It's going to be a great weekend of fights.
A lot of marquee fights are coming back to Madison Square Garden. As you mentioned, Anthony Joshua's fighting Jarrell Miller on DAZN there in June. Is Bellator considering a return to the New York area? I know you guys were back in Long Island in October, but have you been looking at the Garden or the Barclays Center as a potential site for later this year?
It's just so funny. I was just upstairs meeting with Dylan from the Garden. So, we're definitely in dialogue with the Garden all the time, and it's really it just comes down to timing and availability because they're so booked and we're so busy too. That we're going to be doing I think 32 fights this year, all over the world, and so it's a matter of trying to get the dates together. But we'll be back here.
Scott, Bellator has prided themselves to listening to what fans want. You were the first to get away from pay-per-view, go to a streaming service. You were the first to get a major card in Hawaii. One big thing that fans are keeping calling for is the 165-pound division. Any chance that Bellator would be the first major organization to have a 165-pound division?
That's a tough one because once we have to make the change, I think, along other organizations. Because I think that when you have like a weight class that everybody uses, and then now you're going to create your own. It makes it a little tough because now it's going to start becoming a little bit I think it just gets to get messy. Let's say. So I would like to see. Maybe we sit down with all the organizations and say, if we're going to do this, let's do it together, and then all the athletic commissions. Everybody has to get on the same page. So there's a lot of pieces that need to come together, and you're talking about sometimes athletic commissions, organizations, sanctioning bodies, things like that. So it's going to take a lot of work. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying it's going to take a lot of work to get there.
You mentioned that Congo Minakov gets Bader. Because he got things done so quickly his last time out, is there a chance that he defends the light heavyweight title first and then moves on to wait for the winner of that one? I know you said you're going to let him kind of have latitude with which belt he defends, but have you thought at all about that and not holding up 205 at all?
Yeah, I think that, we should sit down and talk to Ryan, which we haven't done yet, because I've let him, kind of enjoy his moment in the sun. And then, we started going to London and started traveling. So we'll get back with him and his management probably sometime in the next 2 weeks and figure out what he wants to do, and then we'll go make it happen.
If you had a preference, what would it be? Would your preference be, let's say he wants to fight in 2 months, you book a quick title fight at 205, and then 5 months from now, then you start thinking about heavyweight? Would that be a preference for you?
You know what? To me, it's really whatever the fighter wants to do. There's good fights, you know, I think for him in the heavyweight division, and I think there's good fights, you know, in the 205 pound class. So to me, I think, you know, when I think of 205 and Ryan Bader, I think of, you know, Gegard moving up to fight him at 205. I think of Lyoto Machida fighting at 205, because both those guys have said they will move up to 205 to fight the big fights. I think of heavyweight, I think of Congo, I think of, you know, Ray Nelson, I think of Matt Mitrione rematch. I think there's just a lot of great fights ahead. You know, Krokop. I mean, there's a lot of big fights for him outside of Czech Congo, and his opponent this weekend. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we break down, can I get a